Welcome everyone to this channel. So in this video we are gonna discuss about the CBSE Term-2 question paper for class 10. So in this video we are just gonna go through the questions related to biology. Now I know all of you guys are in a full force study mode, right? So keep up that spirit and we'll be going through each and every question in this section A first. Okay, so let's just go through the general instruction one by one and try to understand what sort of questions and how many questions and how much time you will be provided to complete this entire paper. So this entire paper comprises of questions, 40 marks questions, and you will be provided 2 hours to complete this entire paper. Okay, and all the questions are compulsory. Now if you don't know the answer, even if you don't know the answer, try to provide any information related to that particular question, right? Any information that you remember, try to put that on your answer sheet. Do not leave it blank, guys. Okay, now the question paper has 3 sections. So there are 3 sections, that is section A, section B and section C, and there are 15 questions, out of which 7 questions are from the biology section of NCERT book. Okay, now the section A is of 7 questions and it is of 2 marks, and section B comprises of 3 marks, and section C is a case based question. Now the questions can be of different types, like you will be asked direct questions, or you will be given a condition and from that condition you will be asked a question, or there will be a case based question. What is a case based question? Basically you will be provided a paragraph with some information and the questions will be asked related to that paragraph. Okay, now internal choices is provided in this question paper, so you have to answer either one of the choices. Okay, do not try to answer both of the or part questions. You will not get extra marks. If you think you are gonna get any extra marks, I'm sorry, but you are not gonna get any extra marks. Try to just answer either one of them. Okay, now let's just start with the section A. So like I said, section A comprises of 2 marks questions, right? So let's just go through this section A one by one, shall we? Okay, now the third question of this question paper is from the biology section of science. So the first part of this question is, trace the path a male gamete takes to fertilize a female gamete after being released from the penis. Okay, so in this they are asking male gamete. What is a male gamete? Sperm. And what is a female gamete? Ovum, right? So what path does the male gamete takes to fertilize with the female gamete? Okay, that is the question that is being asked. So once the male gamete is released from the penis, it has to enter through the vagina and leads to the uterus, and then it enters the fallopian tube. You have studied about it, right? So you can either write it in different points, that is it through the vagina, it enters through the vagina and leads to the uterus, and from that it enters the fallopian tube, which results in the zygote formation, which is nothing but fertilization. Okay, either you can write it in points or you can just show the female reproductive structure diagram and just try to donate it with the arrow, right? You can show it with the arrows here, that how does a sperm moves to the fallopian tube. Okay, so you can draw a diagram like this and show the area, show it with the arrow how the sperm is entering and fusing with the female gamete, that is the ovum. Okay, fine. So the second part of this question is, state the number of set of chromosomes which is present in a zygote. What is a zygote? Zygote is a diploid cell, right? So how much set of chromosome will be present? 2 set of chromosomes. That's it. Simple answer you have to write, that is the 2 sets of chromosomes are present in zygote. Okay, very simple question and very direct question. Fine. Let's just move on. Next question is fourth question. So here they have provided a condition, or you can say there is a question here, and accordingly different questions are asked related to this particular paragraph. So in this paragraph they are telling Rajesh observed a batch of greenish black powdery mass on a stale piece of bread. Now you have seen when you are keeping a bread piece on your anywhere, either outside the fridge or inside the fridge, you can see if you keep it for a really long time, you can see on its surface a greenish color of thing which is produced, that is a greenish powdery substance is produced on the above surface of that bread, right? So they are asking what is that. Okay, that is the simple question here. Name the organism which is responsible, that is what organism is responsible for producing that green color or surface on the bread, and specify how, that is what mode of asexual reproduction is happening in this case. Okay, so we all know, you have studied this in the book, that is greenish black powder mass is nothing but rhizopus, right? You have studied about rhizopus, right? Rhizopus, how does rhizopus reproduce? Through spore formation. So that is the first part of the question, and you have answered it. That is, what sort of organism was present? Rhizopus. And how does it is reproduced? Through spore formation. Okay. Now the second part of the question is, give the vegetative and the reproductive part of rhizopus. So you have to explain what is the vegetative and reproductive part of the rhizopus. Now the vegetative part of rhizopus is a thread-like structure. What was it? Hyphae. And the reproductive part is a blob-like structure, which is nothing but sporangia. So you have to explain what is the vegetative part and the reproductive part of rhizopus, and you are sorted with this part. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Okay, so in this question you can see they have provided a condition again, and the questions will be asked related to that. Okay, so let's see what is this question all about, right? Okay, so mustard was growing in a field B and A, right? In the field A and B, mustard was growing. Okay, while field A produced brown colored seed, field B produced yellow colored seed. It was observed that in the field A, the offspring showed only the parental character. That is, in the field A, only the parental character was seen, whereas in the field B, majority of the offspring showed variation. Okay, they are asking what is the reason for this. Now, in this field A, only parental trait was seen. Okay, so what can be the possible reason why this parental trait is seen? So you have studied in self-pollination that what does it happen? Here basically similar parents are being crossed, right? So through self-pollination, that is why this progeny in the field 1 is having same characters as that of a parents, right? Clear with this answer? And why in the field B a variation is seen? Basically they might be undergoing cross pollination. Okay, so it is a simple question, you can answer it. There is not much of thinking in this question, it's a really direct question. That is, in self-pollination, the parental trait will be passed on to the offspring, and through cross-pollination, there will be variations which can be seen, okay, in the next generation. So you can see the answer. In the field A, the probable reason for the offspring to have the parental trait is because they are undergoing self-pollination. Okay, in the field B, what is the probable reason? Basically, they are having a recombination of gene, that is through cross pollination. That is why there is a variation which is seen in the field B. Okay, this is also a very direct question. Okay, now in this question there is an or part, which means either you can answer this question or you can answer the previous question. Okay, any one question is enough for you. Okay, so let's just see the or part. What is it talking about, right? So in an asexually reproducing species, if a trait X, so there is a trait X, it exists in 5%. So trait X is existing in 5% and trait Y is existing in 70%. So trait X is 5% and trait Y is 70%. Okay, so in a population, that's how they are present here. That is, trait X is 5% and Y is 70%. Okay, so in the question here is asked is, which of the two traits is likely to have arisen earlier? Okay, out of X and Y, which of them have arisen earlier? Okay, which of them are arisen here earlier? So you can see Y is 70%, right? So 70% means it's very obvious that Y is the one which is arisen earlier. Why? Because according to the asexual reproduction, there is identical copies are produced in the next generation, right? So that is how Y is being produced the longest, and X, that is 5%, that is, you can see if in an asexual reproduction there is identical copies are produced. So how does the variation comes? When the mutations occur, right? So it's very obvious that Y is the one which is been arisen earlier comparing to X, right? So in the question only you are getting an idea what is it, right? So you can answer according to. So in an asexually reproducing species, trait X and trait Y existing in the same population, trait Y is likely to have arisen earlier. Why? Because in the asexual reproduction, identical copies of DNA are produced and the variations does not occur. How does the variation occur? Through mutation. Only through sudden mutation this variation occurs. That is why trait Y is the one which is produced, arisen earlier. Okay, you just have to explain that Y in your answer and you are sorted with this. Okay, let's just move on to the question number 7. So again there is a condition. You can see there is an image which is given and there is a condition and question will be asked accordingly. Okay, let's just go through what is it in the question, right? So DDT was sprayed. What is DDT? It is a non-biodegradable material, right? Okay, DDT is non-biodegradable. So DDT is sprayed in water, aquatic environment. So here DDT was sprayed, okay, in a lake to regulate the breeding of mosquitoes. To regulate the breeding of mosquitoes, DDT was sprayed in the aquatic environment, that is the lake. How would it affect the trophic levels in the following food chain associated with a lake? So how will the DDT affect each and every one of these trophic levels? So that is the question. So you can see DDT is sprayed here and the question here asked is, how is it affecting each and every trophic level? Now, according to the biological magnification you might have studied, so in the biological magnification, what happens when a particular DDT or a non-biodegradable thing is introduced in the lake? It will accumulate on the consequent level, that is the upper level. It will keep on accumulating and on the topmost level you can see the DDT, that is the pesticide, will be high in the topmost layer, right? So that is what you have to explain in the answer. Very simple answer. So they are telling DDT is a non-biodegradable pesticide. You have to explain what is DDT. That is, it is a non-biodegradable pesticide, and when it is introduced in the first trophic level, that is the aquatic environment, which is nothing but the lake, okay, what happens? This non-biodegradable pesticide is basically accumulating in the progressive trophic level, causing a phenomena called biological magnification. Do not forget to mention about biological magnification here, okay. So you have to explain it is kept on increasing on the each trophic level towards the upper trophic level. So also in this question they are asking how would you affect the trophic level, and just try to tell which one is the one which is having the highest amount of pesticide. So it's obvious that is the highest tropical level here in the answer, that is the question here is hog. So hog will be having the highest level of pesticide. Okay, very simple question. It's a very direct question also. You will be provided with an image and the questions will be asked and you just have to answer accordingly. Okay, you just have to put the concept, that is the biological magnification here, and you are sorted for this question. Okay, so in this question again an OR part is provided. So you have to answer either this question or the previous question. Okay, so let's just see what is this part talking about. So in this they are telling in the following food chain, vertical arrows, that is like this. Okay, vertical arrows indicates the energy lost. So vertical arrow indicates the energy lost here. Okay, that is the condition which is provided in the question. And then they are telling horizontal arrows indicate the energy transfer, that is this arrow is indicating the energy transfer. Okay, so that is the condition which is provided to you in this question. Now they are asking questions related to this condition. Okay, so they are telling which one of the three vertical arrows, that is A, C and E, which of them are represents the more energy transfer. Okay, and also in the horizontal arrow, that is B and D, again which of them is having the more energy transfer. Now you have studied this in the chapter Our Environment, right? So in that we know that consumers, that is the consumers, there is a deer which is provided. So deer is nothing but a consumer, right? Now there is a herbivorous, or you can say the producer. Now producer is having the highest amount of energy. So in this, when they are transferring that energy into the consumer, a high amount of energy is being lost, and also the consumer uses it for what? It basically uses it for the growth and reproduction and everything. So it's really obvious and a clear answer that the highest amount of energy lost or transfer which is happening here is in A, and the highest energy of transfer which is happening here is in B. So that is this answer. Very simple answer and very direct question which is provided. So let's just go through the answer and see whether the information which I have provided to you is present or not. So they were asking about three vertical arrows, that is A, C and E. Which of them is having the highest energy transfer? A. Okay, you just have to explain that. And total horizontal arrow, which one represent? B is the one which is having higher energy transfer, right? Now, second part of the question, that is in the second point, try to explain what is the reason. Okay, so the reason is because when green plants are eaten by primary consumers, what happens? A great deal of energy is being lost as heat to the environment. Okay, a great deal, that is the high amount of energy is lost there, and also the same amount goes into the digestion and doing any work, or into the growth and reproduction of. That is the next level, that is how the energy is transferred. So clear with the answer? Okay, so there is one more part in this question, that is give the reason for this answer. Why is this happening? Why the energy is being transferred here, and why a high amount of energy is lost here? So you have studied about the 10% law, right? That is only 10% of the energy is being transferred to the next level. Simple answers, you just have to explain that is the average of 10% of the eaten food is made available for the next level of consumers, and according to the 10% law, this loss of energy takes place at every tropic level. So only 10% of the food is eaten by the next generation. So what is happening here? Only 10% of the 10% of the food is eaten here. So what happens in the next level of consumers? Only 10% is getting here. So the energy loss expected at every tropic level is just 10%. Okay, so because of that only the producer, that is the plant, is having the highest amount of energy. Okay, so we are done with this section A, and I hope you understood each and every questions of section A. We have talked about the section A of class 10 term 2 CBSE paper, right? Now in this section we will be discussing about section B. So section B questions comprises of questions that is for 3 marks. Okay, so we'll just go one by one and try to understand how to answer these questions. Okay, so the 10th question of this paper. So in this question they are telling 2 pea plant, that is one is round yellow seed and one that is having wrinkled green seed. They are producing an F1 progeny, that is round yellow seed. So in this question they have given a condition, that is the round yellow seed is crossing with the wrinkled green seed and produced the round yellow seeds. So in the question they are asking, when the F1 plants are self-pollinated, which new combination of character is expected in the F2 progeny? That is, if you are self-pollinating this round and yellow, if you are self-pollinating, what sort of new characters? Okay, here they are only asking about new characters you can see in the F2 generation. So if you are crossing this round and yellow seeds here, you can see there are 16 total characters that is being produced here. So out of them you have to find which new character is the one which is produced here. So you can see the new character which you are produced in this particular cross is round green plant and the wrinkled yellow plant. You can see this one is the wrinkled yellow plant and this one is the round green plant, right? So there are 3 of them which is produced here. So according to the law of dominance you have studied in this cross, that the ratio will be 9:3:3:1. So in this the new combinations are of 3, that is the round green and the wrinkled yellow. So that is the first part of the question. Then the next part of the question they are asking, how many seeds with this new combinations of characters will be produced when a total of 160 seeds are produced in the F2 generation. So they are giving a condition where you are provided, that is the total seeds which is produced after this cross is 160 seeds. So out of them, which of them are, like how many of them will be produced with a new combination, right? So we have studied about the new combination which are produced as round yellow and wrinkled yellow, okay, sorry, round green and wrinkled yellow, right, with 3. Okay, 3 of them are round green and 3 of them are wrinkled yellow. Okay, so in this question they have already told us that the total of 160 seeds are produced here. So in the F2 generation 160 seeds are produced. Now you know the combination, that is the ratio 3:3:3:1. So and there is a total of how many traits, that is 16 traits is produced after that cross, right? So when you are putting it as the sum, that is 9x plus 3x plus 3x plus 1x, it will give 160. 160 is already provided to you in the question, that is out of 160 how much new combination are producing, how many seeds are the new combination producing out of this 160. So when you are calculating this, 16 traits are produced. When you are dividing it, you will get x as 10, and when you put it into the equation, that is 3 plants were of round green and 3 plants were of wrinkled yellow, right? So when you are putting it and calculating it, that is 3 into 10 and 3 into 10, you will get 30 seeds. So out of 160 seeds, the new combination seeds are 30 seeds for round green and for wrinkled yellow. Okay. So moving on, the third part of this question was explain with the reason why this new combinations can be seen. So according to the law of inheritance, that is independent inheritance, in this case there were two types of traits were seen. That is, here we are consider the seed color and also the seed shape. So that is why this new combination can be seen in this particular cross. So there were two traits which were seen here, that is the seed shape and that of the seed color. Okay, understood the entire question, right? It was a really easy question, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, moving on to the 13th question. Here they are asking a gas A. Okay, there is a unknown gas A which is found in the upper layer of the atmosphere. You have studied in the chapter Our Environment about different layers of atmosphere, right? So which layer is the one which is present at the outermost, that is the upper layer? It is nothing but ozone, right? Ozone is the gas which is present in the outermost layer of our atmosphere. Okay, so that is done. So first part is done. You have mentioned about the gas A. Which gas is it? Ozone A. Okay, so there in the question they are asking, identify the gas A. Gas A is nothing but ozone. Okay, next part of the question is, how is it formed at a higher level of atmosphere? Question is, how is this ozone being formed in the outermost layer or the uppermost layer of our atmosphere? Okay, so you have to just explain this. You have seen in the NCERT diagram, right? This particular formula also was seen, formula kind of. So how is ozone formed? So due to UV. So when a higher UV radiation, what does it do? It basically splits the ozone that is the oxygen molecule, oxygen molecule is splitting into free oxygen atoms, okay, that is O plus O. Now this free oxygen atoms, when it combines with the molecular oxygen again, then it produces the ozone. Okay, understood the entire reaction? How does it forms? How does the ozone forms? So basically, when a higher UV radiation, it basically, what does it do? It basically splits the oxygen molecule into free oxygen, and when this free oxygen molecule combines with the molecular oxygen, what does it give? It basically gives ozone. Very simple answer. You just have to explain. Either you can write it within a paragraph or in points, or you can just show the simple reaction. Okay. Okay. Next, the B part of this 13th question is, why is it essential for all living beings, and state the cause for the depletion. So there are two parts in this B part itself. So the first part is, why is it essential? Why do we need ozone? We have studied, right? Why do we need? Basically to protect us from the harmful UV rays. Okay, if ozone layer is not there, then direct rays of sun will be on us, right? So what will happen? We'll have sunburns. So to prevent from that, a ozone layer is present in between. Okay, so that is the answer. That is to protect us from the harmful radiations of sun or harmful rays of sun. Okay, next part of the question is, state the cause for the depletion of gas. How this particular layer of ozone is being depleted. You might have heard about CFCs, that is chlorofluorocarbon. Due to this, that is the chlorofluorocarbons are produced from the refrigerator. So when that chlorofluorocarbons is being produced, the ozone layer is basically getting depleted here. Okay. Okay, so we are done with the B section. I hope you understood this B section and clear with all the questions and all the answers which I have provided to you. Moving on to section C. Section C questions comprises of 4 marks, right? So in this section C, you will be provided a case-based question. What was the case-based question is about? Basically, you will be provided a paragraph with information and the questions will be asked according to that paragraph. Okay, so let's see what is this paragraph talking about. So Sahil performed an experiment to study the inheritance of pattern of genes. So Sahil conducted an experiment. What did he do? He basically crossed the tall pea plant, that is capital T, with the short pea plant, that is small t, small t. Okay, so in the first part of this question they are asking what will be the set of gene which is present in the F1 generation. So what is the genes that we can see in the F1 generation? So when we are crossing this tall pea plant with the short pea plant, we can see we will be getting these two gametes, right? A capital T and a small t. So if we are crossing it, we will be getting capital T and small t in the F1 generation, which is nothing but the tall pea plant. Okay, clear with the first part? So you can see in the answer they have mentioned about the set of the genes which is present in the F1 generation is nothing but capital T and small t. Moving on to the B part of this question, they have asked give reasons for why only the tall pea plants can be observed in the F1 progeny. They are asking why only tall pea plants are seen in the F1 progeny. So you have studied about the law of dominance in the hereditary and evolution chapter, right? So what does law of dominance states? Only the character which is dominant, that is in this case T is dominant, right? Capital T is dominant. So the capital T will be expressed to the next generation, whereas the small t trait is a recessive trait. So it won't be expressed in the next generation. So you have to just explain that as capital T is the dominant one and small t is the recessive one, according to the law of dominance, only the dominant trait will be expressed towards the next generation, right? So in the answer you can see they have talked about mention the law of dominance. Okay, you have to mention which law is responsible for getting only tall pea plants on the F1 generation. Okay, so they have mentioned in the answer according to the law of dominance, instead of both the trait, the dominant trait, that is the capital T, will be expressed in the F1 generation, and that is why only tall pea plant is observed. Okay, moving on to the C part of this question. So in this question they are asking when F1 plants were self-pollinated. What was F1 plants? Capital T and small t. That is a tall pea plant if it is self-pollinated. That is, if it is self-pollinated with the capital T and small t plant again, a total of 800 plants were produced. Okay, so here they are mentioning in the question that a total of 800 plants are produced in this cross, that is when a capital T and small t is crossing with the capital T and small t. Okay, next part of the question is how many of this would be tall, medium or short plants, and give the genotype of F2 generation. Very simple question, you have to just understand how this cross happens. So you can see in this cross, when a capital T and small t plant is self-pollinated with the capital T and small t plant, you will get these characters, right? So in the first part of the question, they asked how many of this would be tall, how many of them will be medium or short plants, and the second part is give the genotype of F2 generation. So you can see when they are self-pollinated, there will be 3 traits that is seen on the F generation, right? 3 traits will be tall, that is you can see the TT1 is tall according to the law of dominance. Remember, if the capital T is present, then that will be of a dominant trait, that is the tall pea plant. So here you can see there is 2 capital T's and there is capital T and small t, which is again a tall pea plant, and again there is a capital T and small t, which is again a tall t plant, and there is a short t and short t, which is a recessive or a short t plant, right? What did I say? Small t is a recessive trait. Okay, fine. So if we are checking the ratio according to the law of dominance, you can see 3 of the plants are tall and only 1 plant is short. So you can say that in the 3 traits from F2 generation, it will be tall and 1 trait will be of short, that is in the ratio of 3:1. Okay, so in the question they have asked, there were total 800 plants. So according to the 800 plants, how many of them will be tall and how many of them will be short? That is what they have asked in the question. So according to it, tall pea plant produced were 800, we know, and in the F2 generation you can see 4 characters were there, that is you can see there were 4 characters which is present. So total number of trait which is seen is 4. When you divide it, you will get 200, and if you are putting everything together, that is, I said 3 trait is of tall and 1 trait is of short. So when you are multiplying it with 200, you will get 600 plants that is present as tall and 200 plant is present as short pea plant. Okay, fine. In the second part of the question, they asked what is the genotype of this F2 generation. So here you can see 600 plants were tall and 200 plants were short. That is, tall was TT or capital T and capital T, and short were small t. Okay, so that you can present the genotype like this. Okay. Now, in the C part itself, they have an OR question. In this question, they are asking if we are cross-pollinating the F1 generation, that is, F1 generation was capital T and small t. If we are cross-pollinating this with the small t and small t genes, that is small t and small t genes, if we are cross-pollinating them, a total of 800 plants were produced. Again, 800 plants were seen in the F2 generation, and the question here asked is how many of them will be tall, medium or short plants, and also tell the genotype of F2 generation. Now, when we are crossing these plants, you will get a capital T and small t, a small t and small t, and a capital T and small t, and a small t and small t. Alright. So according to the law of dominance, here you can see this one and this one. This is of tall plant, right? And these two, that is the recessive trait, that is small t and small t, is a short. So the total number of trait produced in this cross was 4, in which 2 of them is tall and 2 of them are short, right? So in the answer, if you are telling, they have given you the condition that 800 plants are produced. In that, how much of them, how many plants were tall and how many plants were short, right? So just explain with writing the total plants which were produced were 800 plants, and the number of trait which was seen by that cross was 400. When we are dividing that, you will get answer 200. Okay. Now they have mentioned about the number of tall plants and the number of short plants. So in this, you had seen in this cross that 2 plants were tall and 2 plants were short. So multiply that with 200 and you will get how many plants are produced out of 800, how many plants are produced as tall and how many plants are produced as short. So here you can see 400 are from tall and 400 are from short. Just calculate it with putting 2 into 200, right? You will get the answer. Now the next part of the question is, what type of genotype is present in the F2 generation? So there were 400 plants are tall and 400 plants are short, and the genotype here you can see is capital T and small t, and for the short plant it is small t and small t. So you can write it as capital T and small t and small t and small t as the genotype which is present in this F2 generation. So we are done with the entire question paper, that is the biology part of this question paper. Now if you have any doubts from me, make sure to put that in the comment section below, and if you have any suggestions for me, also put that in the comment section below. I'll catch you up in the next session. Peace out.